The rain was coming down in sheets when Marcus Chen finished his shift at Romano's, a family-style Italian restaurant, where he'd worked as a waiter for the past 3 years. At 34, Marcus had the kind of tiredness that went deeper than physical exhaustion. The bone-deep weariness of a single father working double shifts while trying to raise a 7-year-old daughter alone. He pulled on his jacket and grabbed his umbrella, preparing for the 6-block walk to the bus stop. His car had died 2 months ago, and he hadn't been able to save enough for repairs yet. Most of his paycheck went to rent, his daughter Lily's school supplies, and the never-ending pile of bills that seemed to multiply when he wasn't looking. As Marcus stepped out into the downpour, he noticed someone sitting on the curb just outside the restaurant, a young woman in an elegant cream-colored dress and a dark blazer, completely drenched. Her blonde hair hung in wet strands around her face, and she was hugging her knees to her chest, shivering violently. Marcus's first thought was that she might be drunk or on drugs. This neighborhood wasn't particularly dangerous, but it had its share of problems. But as he got closer, he saw that she was crying, great heaving sobs that shook her shoulders. "Miss?" Marcus approached carefully. "Are you okay? Do you need help?" The young woman looked up at him with red, swollen eyes. She couldn't have been more than 22 or 23. "I'm fine," she said automatically, then laughed bitterly. "No, actually, I'm not fine at all." Marcus looked at her expensive clothes, now ruined by rain, and the designer handbag clutched in her lap. Whatever her problem was, it clearly wasn't lack of money. "What happened? Are you hurt?" "Not physically." She wiped her face, though it was pointless with the rain still pouring down. I can't go home right now. I can't face it." Marcus should have kept walking. He was tired. He needed to get home to relieve Mrs. Park next door, who was watching Lily, and getting involved in a stranger's problems was never a good idea. But something about the raw despair in the young woman's voice stopped him. He held out his umbrella. "Here, at least get under this before you catch pneumonia." The woman looked at the umbrella, then at Marcus, as if she couldn't quite process what was happening. "What?" "The umbrella. You're soaked. At least get out of the rain. But then you'll get wet." "I'm already wet, and I'm heading to the bus stop anyway. Come on. Let me at least walk you somewhere dry." The woman stood slowly, accepting the umbrella. Marcus noticed she was shaking, whether from cold or emotion, he couldn't tell. Probably both. "Where are you trying to go?" Marcus asked. "I don't know. I left. I couldn't be there anymore." "Left where?" "A party. An engagement party. Mine." She laughed again, that same bitter sound. "Or it was supposed to be mine, until I found out my fiancé has been cheating on me with my assistant for the past 6 months. They thought they were being so clever, so discreet. But I saw the texts tonight. Right there at our own engagement party, surrounded by all our friends and family, I saw the texts." Marcus winced. "I'm sorry." "That's terrible. The worst part? Everyone knew. My friends, my colleagues, probably my parents. Everyone knew except me. I was the only idiot who believed him when he said he was working late or traveling for business. I stood up there tonight, making toasts about love and trust and forever, while everyone smiled and pretended and knew. The whole time that he was sleeping with someone else. They had reached the bus stop's small shelter. It wasn't much, but it was better than standing in the open rain. Marcus gestured for her to sit on the bench, and she collapsed onto it like her strings had been cut. "What's your name?" Marcus asked gently. "Natalie. Natalie Winters." The name tickled something in Marcus's memory, but he couldn't place it. "I'm Marcus. Marcus Chen." "Thank you, Marcus. For the umbrella and for not just walking past me. I know I must look crazy sitting in the rain like that. You look like someone who just had the worst night of her life." Marcus sat down beside her, leaving a respectful distance between them. "For what it's worth, I've been there. Different circumstances, but I know what it feels like when your whole life falls apart." "What happened to you?" Marcus wasn't usually one to share his story, but something about this night. "This stranger made it easier. My wife left 3 years ago. We have a daughter, Lily. My wife, she wasn't ready to be a mother. She tried, I think, but one day I came home and she was just gone. Left a note saying she couldn't do it anymore. I haven't heard from her since." "That's awful. I'm so sorry." "It was hard. Still is hard, but Lily's amazing, and we're making it work. Some days are harder than others, but we're okay. Marcus smiled. Actually, she's the reason I'm working at Romano's. The hours are flexible enough that I can be there when she gets home from school. It doesn't pay great, but it works. They sat in comfortable silence for a few moments, watching the rain. Finally, Natalie said, "Everyone's going to think I'm crazy, walking out of my own engagement party. They'll say I overreacted, that I should have confronted him privately, that making a scene was immature. Did you make a scene?" "No, I just left, walked out the door and kept walking. I don't even know how far I walked before I ended up here. My phone's been ringing nonstop." She pulled her phone from her purse and turned it off. "I don't want to talk to any of them right now." "You don't have to. You're allowed to take time to process, to be angry and hurt. You don't owe anyone an explanation or immediate forgiveness." Natalie looked at him with something like wonder. "You're very kind. Most people wouldn't have stopped. Most people are so focused on their own problems they don't see anyone else's. I get it. I'm usually the same way. But tonight," he shrugged. "Tonight I stopped. Marcus's bus arrived then, and he stood. This is me. Are you going to be okay? Do you have somewhere to go?" Natalie nodded. "I'll call a friend. Someone I know I can trust. Thank you, Marcus, really. You saved me tonight. I just gave you an umbrella." "You gave me more than that." Natalie stood and handed him back the umbrella. "You gave me kindness when I really needed it. I won't forget that." As Marcus boarded the bus, he looked back to see Natalie on her phone, presumably calling that friend. He hoped she'd be all right. He thought about her on the ride home, during the walk from the bus stop to his apartment, and as he relieved Mrs. Park and got Lily ready for bed. There was something about the encounter that had touched him. The reminder that everyone, no matter how wealthy or put together they seemed, could be broken by betrayal and loss. "Daddy?" Lily asked as he tucked her in. "You're all wet. Did you forget your umbrella?" "No, I gave it to someone who needed it more." "That was nice of you. Was it someone from work?" "No, just someone who was having a bad day. Sometimes we have to help people, even if we don't know them." "Like superheroes?" Marcus smiled and kissed her forehead. "Exactly like superheroes. Now get some sleep. School tomorrow." 3 days later, Marcus and Lily were having their Friday night tradition, pizza and a movie. Lily was allowed to stay up late on Fridays, and they'd make popcorn and watch whatever she wanted. Tonight she'd chosen a princess movie. But during the commercials, she'd started channel surfing. "Daddy, can we watch the news?" Lily asked. "Mrs. Park says it's important to know what's happening in the world." Marcus agreed, and Lily flipped to a local news station. The anchor was in the middle of a story about a local charity initiative, and joining us tonight is philanthropist Natalie Winters, who has just announced a major new initiative to help single parents in need. "Ms. Winters, thank you for being here." Marcus's head snapped up. There, on the television, was the young woman from the rainy night. She looked completely different. Her hair was styled, her makeup perfect. She wore a professional blazer and spoke with confidence, but it was definitely her. "Daddy!" Lily shrieked. "That's the lady! That's the lady you helped." "What?" "The lady from the rain. You said you gave your umbrella to a lady in the rain." "That's her! I recognize her!" Marcus watched, stunned, as Natalie spoke about her new foundation, which would provide financial assistance and resources to single parents struggling to make ends meet. "I was inspired by someone I met recently," Natalie was saying. "Someone who showed me extraordinary kindness during one of the darkest moments of my life. He didn't know who I was, didn't expect anything in return. He just helped because that's who he is. And I realized that I wanted to be more like that. I've been so focused on my own life, my own problems, my own circle, that I'd stopped seeing the struggles of people around me." The anchor asked. "This is quite a substantial commitment, $10 million to start. What made you decide to focus specifically on single parents?" "Because I met a single father who works as a waiter, taking care of his daughter alone, and he still stopped to help a complete stranger. He gave me his umbrella in the rain and his time when I needed someone to listen. If someone struggling that hard can still find the compassion to help others, then what excuse do I have? I have resources. I have the ability to make a real difference. So that's what I'm going to do." The anchor smiled. "That's a beautiful story. Do you know who this man was?" "I do. And I'm hoping he's watching tonight because I'd like to thank him properly." Marcus Chen, if you're out there, please contact the foundation. I'd very much like to speak with you. Marcus sat frozen on the couch. Lily was bouncing with excitement. Daddy, she's talking about you. You're famous! I'm not famous, sweetheart. I helped someone. You have to call her. She wants to talk to you. Marcus thought about ignoring it, about continuing his quiet life, without getting involved with someone who was clearly very wealthy and very public. But Lily was so excited. And there was a part of him, a small part, that was curious about what Natalie wanted to say. The next morning, he called the number shown on the foundation's website. Within an hour, his phone rang. Marcus, it's Natalie. Thank you so much for calling. I saw you on the news. That's quite an initiative you're starting. You inspired it. That night in the rain, you showed me what real kindness looks like. You were exhausted from work. You had your own child to get home to, and you still stopped. You listened. You shared your story. You reminded me that there are people struggling every day, working so hard and still barely getting by. And you showed me that even in that struggle, there's room for compassion. I just gave you an umbrella. You gave me much more than that. Marcus, I'd like you to be part of the foundation. I need someone who understands what single parents actually face, what they actually need. Not someone who's studied it academically or imagined it theoretically, someone who lives it. Would you consider joining the foundation's board? I don't know anything about running a foundation, but you know about being a single parent. You know about working hard and still not having enough. You know about choosing between fixing your car and buying your daughter new school clothes. That's the expertise I need. They met for coffee the next day, and Natalie outlined her vision. The foundation would provide emergency financial assistance, help with childcare costs, offer job training and placement services, and create a support network for single parents. She wanted Marcus to help design the programs to ensure they actually addressed real needs. What about my job? Marcus asked. I can't afford to quit. You'd be paid, of course, significantly more than you make now, with better hours and benefits. And there's flexibility. You'd still be able to be there for Lily when she needs you. Over the next months, Marcus became an integral part of the Winters Foundation. He brought a perspective that none of the other board members had. He'd lived the struggle they were trying to address. His input shaped every program, every policy, every decision. But more than the professional relationship, Marcus and Natalie became friends. She met Lily and was charmed by the bright, kind little girl. She attended Lily's school plays and birthday parties. She became part of their lives in a way that felt natural and right. A year after that rainy night, the foundation had helped over 1,000 families. They'd provided emergency rent assistance, paid for car repairs, covered childcare costs, and helped dozens of single parents get better jobs. Every person helped received a card with their assistance that read, "Because someone stopped in the rain." At the foundation's one-year anniversary gala, Natalie pulled Marcus aside. I need to tell you something. Okay. That night when I walked out of my engagement party, I was planning to walk into traffic. I was done. I couldn't see any reason to keep going when everything I believed about my life was a lie. And then you stopped. You gave me your umbrella and your time and your story. You showed me that kindness still existed, that there were still good people in the world. You saved my life, Marcus. Not figuratively, literally. Marcus felt tears sting his eyes. I didn't know. How could you? But I need you to understand what you did. You saved me, and through this foundation, you're saving hundreds of other people too. Families who were about to be evicted, who couldn't afford medicine for their kids, who were one emergency away from losing everything. You're helping save them. We're helping save them together. Natalie smiled. Together. That's the best part. I thought I knew what partnership meant. I was engaged to be married. But that wasn't partnership. This is working together towards something that matters. Building something real. 2 years after that rainy night, Marcus and Natalie's partnership had deepened into something more. They'd fallen in love slowly, carefully, both of them scarred by past relationships. But what they built was solid, based on mutual respect, shared values, and genuine affection. When Marcus proposed, he did it simply, just him, Natalie and Lily, having dinner at Romano's where it had all started. He told Natalie that she'd shown him it was possible to trust again, to love again, to build a future with someone. Lily, now 9 years old, gave her enthusiastic approval. "Does this mean Natalie will be my mom?" she asked. "If that's okay with you," Natalie said, taking Lily's hand. "I know I can't replace your mom, but I'd be honored to be your stepmom if you'll have me." "Yes!" Lily threw her arms around Natalie. "I've been hoping you'd ask." At their wedding, Marcus gave a toast. 3 years ago, I gave a stranger my umbrella in the rain. I thought it was a small thing, just a simple act of kindness that cost me nothing. But that small act changed my life. It changed Lily's life, and it's changed the lives of thousands of families through the foundation we built together. He looked at Natalie with such love that several guests wiped their eyes. Natalie taught me that the smallest acts of compassion can have the biggest impacts. That stopping for a stranger can change the trajectory of your entire life. That kindness is never wasted, never meaningless, even when it seems small. Natalie stood and took the microphone. "Marcus gave me an umbrella when I was sitting in the rain, broken and lost. But he gave me so much more than that. He gave me hope when I had none. He showed me that there was still good in the world. He reminded me that wealth means nothing if you don't use it to help others. And he taught me that family isn't just about biology or marriage certificates. It's about showing up, caring, being there when someone needs you." She looked at Lily, now her stepdaughter, sitting at the head table. "I gained a husband today, but I also gained a daughter. And together, we've built a family and a foundation based on the simple principle Marcus demonstrated that rainy night. We stop for each other. We help. We care. We see each other's struggles and we respond with compassion." Years later, the Winters Chen Foundation, Natalie had insisted on adding, Marcus's name, had expanded nationwide. They'd helped tens of thousands of single parents, funded countless initiatives, and changed the conversation about poverty and single parenthood. But Marcus never forgot that rainy night, that moment when he'd made the choice to stop instead of walking past. He'd tell young people who volunteered at the foundation, "You never know when a small act of kindness will change a life. You never know when stopping for a stranger will set in motion a chain of events that transforms everything. All you can do is choose, in that moment, to see someone's pain and respond with compassion. The rest unfolds from there." Lily, now in college and studying social work, wrote her application essay about that night, about how her father had given away his umbrella to a stranger, and how that simple act had changed their lives forever, about how kindness creates ripples we can't predict or control. "My father didn't stop in the rain because he expected anything in return," she wrote. "He stopped because someone needed help. That's who he is. And that simple choice, to stop, to see, to help, it changed everything. It saved a life. It built a family. It created a foundation that has helped thousands of people. All because one tired waiter on his way home decided that someone else's need mattered more than his own convenience. That's the lesson I carry with me every day. Stop for each other. See each other's pain. Respond with kindness, because you never know when your umbrella in the rain will be exactly what someone needs to keep going. You never know when your small act of compassion will save a life and change the world." And that lesson, that simple, profound truth, continued to ripple outward, touching lives in ways that Marcus, sitting on that rainy curb 3 years ago, could never have imagined. All because he chose to stop. All because he gave away his umbrella. All because he saw a stranger's pain and decided it mattered. Sometimes the most important moments in life look like nothing special. A rainy night, an umbrella, a conversation with a stranger. But those moments contain the seeds of transformation. Those moments are where everything changes. We just have to be willing to stop long enough to see them.